So it might just save Christmas for many South Africans planning to fly to the UK for the festive season, but will it make any real difference to inbound travel and our tourism industry? I'm joined by the CEO of the Tourism Business Council of South Africa, Tshifhiwa Tshivhengwa. Tshifhiwa, this is obviously fantastic news. You must be delighted. Do you think, though, it's too late to bring in international travel? Is there still a chance for the international season?
Well, thank you for having me. I think it's good news that the UK came into its senses and removed South Africa and other Southern African countries from the red list. I think it will go a long way in instilling trust, in the travelers coming from the UK when they are considering coming to South Africa and other countries within the region. I think that, yes, what has happened between the 25th and now has, put a huge damage into our tourism sector. We have seen billions of rands worth of bookings being wiped out because people, did not have the confidence to travel to South Africa because of the quarantine requirements that they would have gone through when they go back home. But nonetheless, the fact that it has now been reversed, it means that those that still want to travel can travel. And also, it means that we may miss the Christmas season a little bit, January and February are still critical months for those that are coming from the UK, to book their trips, knowing that they don't have to go through the rigorous quarantine requirement when they go back home. So it's still a good news, although we would have loved this not to have happened in the first place. But as far as where we are now, we can start to rebuild, we can start to put messages out, and we can start to see some airlines coming back into the country and to support the tourism recovery in South Africa. It is good news overall, although coming a bit late, but we welcome it.
So talk to me a little bit more about the airlines, because a lot of them just simply cancelled their flights. It wasn't either worth it or simply no one could come really in any great numbers to the United Kingdom, for example. What are you hearing about the airlines, what they're going to do? Are you expecting them to ramp up quite quickly to start bringing tourists and other visitors into the country? What are you hearing this evening?
Well, it's going to depend on the demand. I think the next 48 hours is going to be critical in terms of hearing what the demand looks like in terms of airlines. They will be reporting, and we'll see if they're going to add more flights or add, capacity or change, the flights that they're using to come down here to South Africa. So we'll wait to see. But we do know that there is a lot of people that are willing to come down to South Africa, but that's yet to be seen. So next 24 to 48 hours will be critical. And also in terms of rebookings for those that want to come for Christmas season, it's going to be determined, as we go. But we do hope that the airlines come back to South Africa, those that are coming from the UK, and those that are coming from the Middle East, they reconsider their decisions. And more importantly, we want also other countries that have followed the UK footsteps in terms of imposing this red listing, the likes of Germany, Netherlands, France, and many others within the European Union to reconsider their decision to make sure that, there is travel between the region and South Africa. That will go a long way in the recovery of tourism sector. So we do hope that the next 24 to 48 hours, we see the domino effect that we've seen when the UK announced the red listing. We see the domino effect of countries rescinding their decisions and allowing their citizens to come to South Africa. That will go a long way in the recovery of tourism, and we hope they do so.
You make a really good point. They were very quick to follow the UK's lead. Let's hope they do the same now. Talk to me about bookings, because we know that there was a big push for domestic tourists to try and fill the gap left by a lot of those cancelled bookings. How are we looking in terms of our bookings? And I'm talking across hotels right down to your little B&Bs.
Well, the bookings are looking good, from the domestic point of view. But we need to remember that the infrastructure that we have, tourism, from tourism point of view, is bigger than what the domestic market can consume. So we need international market to fill in the gap. So it's important that domestic travel continues and support the tourism recovery. And it's important that people travel and they do so safely. And we encourage everyone to travel. What we don't expect is government to put in restrictions that will, hinder travel between provinces, that will look into curfews or look at alcohol ban. We don't expect that, and we don't want that. And if we do that, we'll be confirming what the international markets have been saying in terms of, banning their travelers coming to South Africa.
Yeah.
So we don't need to go into that route. We need to make sure that we send a message that South Africa is open for business. So domestic travel is there. We have seen some uptick in terms of people who want to travel to various parts of the country, and we need to keep it that way.
Yeah,
and the government needs to support by restrictions that are
and you
for
say
the
that, of
tourism
course, because the eNCC is meeting this evening. Briefly, have you given input and have you made any suggestions? You say that you're not expecting any sort of provincial travel bans or anything like that, but have you made suggestions of any sort?
No, absolutely. We've made suggestions. We don't expect anything than the status quo that we're in, level 1. We expect that government, go ahead with compliance, and we will do so from our side as an industry to make sure that we are compliant and make sure that the patrons, the business owners, and everyone else who's going to be coming into our establishment is compliant. So we don't expect anything less than what we're doing now. Omicron is already in the community. We need to make sure that we wear our mask, vaccinate, and do everything that's possible in terms of protocols and norms and standards to mitigate the spread of the virus. Anything less than that is not going to work, and it's not going to mitigate the spread of the virus, and it's going to destroy the tourism industry.
Well, you've got a busy 48 hours ahead, as you say. We'll let you get back to it. Thanks so much for chatting to us this evening. CEO of the Tourism Business Council of South Africa, Tshifhiwa Tshivhengwa.